In a small city, there lived a girl named Adure. Adure was known far and wide, not just for her glowing flawless skin or her radiant gentle smile, but her obsession with fashion. She wasn't just a fan of fashion, she was its devoted servant. To Adure, fashion was life. She would scroll endlessly on her phone, hopping from one trendy outfit to another, dreaming of how she would look in each piece. The moment she saw a dress that caught her eye, she couldn't rest until it was hers. She would spend her last naira on clothes without a second thought. If a vendor on Instagram posted a new dress at 11 p.m., Adure would be the first to comment, "How much, please?" By the next morning, she would have sent her payment, eagerly awaiting the delivery of her latest treasure. But fashion wasn't her only obsession. Adure loved food just as much, if not more. It was almost as if her heart beat to the rhythm of her chewing. Whenever you see Adure, her mouth was busy munching something, whether it was biscuits, chocolate, peanuts, or fried yam. Adure always had a snack in her hand. If she didn't, her friends would joke, "Are you feeling alright? Where is the food?" And Adure didn't mind. She would laugh and dig into her bag, pulling out a pack of cookies. "I can't disappoint you people now," she would say with a smile. She had a special love for suya and shawarma. Every night, no matter how full she was, she would order shawarma or suya to complete her day. Yet, despite her bottomless appetite, Adure's figure was perfect. Her slender waist, curvy hips, and flawless skin left everyone wondering how she managed to stay that way. People admired her for it. Some envied her. Others couldn't help but gossip. How does she eat all this junk and remain like this? Her mother Obioma didn't find it amusing. Obioma loved Adure deeply, but she constantly worried about her daughter's health. "Adure, you can't keep eating like this. Do you know how much sugar you take in a day? Do you know what it's doing to your body?" she would say. "Mama, forget that thing," Adure would reply with a mischievous laugh. "Nothing is going to happen to me. Look at me now. Don't I look perfect? Mama, life is too short not to enjoy good food." Obioma would sigh deeply and shake her head. Sometimes she tried drastic measures, like refusing to cook Adure's favorite meals or locking the pantry. But Adure always found her way around it. With her own money, she would buy fried rice, grilled chicken, ice cream, and whatever her heart desired. Her love for food and fashion could be traced back to her childhood. Adure was the only child of her parents Obioma and Chijioke. They had waited for years to have a child, enduring tears, prayers, and trips to every pastor, herbalist, and doctor they could find. When Adure was finally born, she became their entire world. Obioma and Chijioke adored their daughter. Whatever Adure wanted, they gave her. Ice cream, biscuits, shoes, dresses. If she stretched out her little hands and said, "Mama, I want this," Obioma would buy it without hesitation. Even when neighbors cautioned them, saying, "This child is becoming spoiled. You can't give her everything she wants," they would dismiss it. "She's just a baby," Chijioke would say with a wide grin. "We will teach her discipline later. For now, let her enjoy." But later never came, and as Adure grew older, so did her appetite for getting whatever she desired. She loved the attention and admiration she got from others, especially when she was dressed in the latest trends or seen eating her favorite snacks. One Sunday morning, Adure walked into church wearing a bright pink dress with matching earrings and shoes. Heads turned as she gracefully made her way to her seat. Adure loved this reaction, the silent admiration people gave her everywhere she went. As the choir sang and the preacher gave his sermon, someone caught Adure's attention. Across the aisle was a lady wearing the most stunning dress Adure had ever seen. It was a corset-style gown, perfectly tailored to highlight every curve of the lady's figure. The design was intricate, with lace patterns on the body and a flowing skirt that shimmered under the light. Adure couldn't take her eyes off the dress. Her heart raced as she thought about how incredible she would look in that exact outfit. By the end of the service, she had made up her mind. She needed that dress. As soon as the preacher said, "Go in peace," Adure bolted out of her seat and approached the lady. "Excuse me, you look beautiful," Adure said, her voice sweet and eager. The lady turned to her with a warm smile. "Oh, thank you. I couldn't stop admiring your dress," Adure continued. "Where did you get it? I've never seen anything like it." The lady chuckled softly. "My tailor made it for me. It's called a corset dress." "Wow, it's stunning," Adure gushed. "How much did it cost?" The lady paused briefly before replying. "It was 250,000 naira. Adure's eyes widened in disbelief. 250,000 naira? She exclaimed. She couldn't even find the words to describe how expensive it was. "You are really a big girl, oh." The lady laughed. "Well, quality comes at a price, but trust me, it's worth every kobo." She handed Adure her tailor's contact number. "Here, in case we are interested." Adure took the number eagerly, already imagining herself in the dress. "Thank you so much," she said, beaming with excitement. When Adure got home, she couldn't stop thinking about the dress. She sat on her bed, staring at the number in her phone. The price was outrageous, more than she had ever spent on a single item of clothing. But the thought of wearing that corset dress filled her with determination. She paced her room, biting her nails as she tried to figure out how to afford it. "Maybe if I save little by little," she thought, "I can get it in a few months." And so, Adure began her mission. She tightened her spending habits, well, except when it came to food, and started putting away money for her dream dress. As beautiful as she was, Adure had many admirers. Men often showered her with compliments, gifts, and money in hopes of winning her heart. Adure, however, wasn't interested in love or relationships. She was only interested in their money, and she put it all towards an imaginary dress. One day, as Adure was walking down the street to a store to buy some snacks, she ran into an old friend named Ujunwa. It was a bright sunny afternoon, and the air smelled of roasted corn from a nearby vendor. Adure had been humming a tune, thinking about what she would buy. Maybe some plantain chips and a cold soda. When she heard someone shout, "Adure, is that you?" She turned and saw Ujunwa waving at her from across the street. Adure's eyes lit up with excitement. "Ujunwa, my goodness, it's been ages," she exclaimed, rushing over to hug her friend. The two women stood there talking for a while, their laughter echoing down the busy street. They had been childhood friends, but had lost touch after Ujunwa moved to another city. Now, seeing each other again after so many years, they couldn't stop smiling. "I have so much to tell you," Ujunwa said, her face glowing with joy. "Guess what? I'm getting married next month." Adure gasped, placing a hand over her mouth. "What? Uju? You are serious? That's amazing. Congratulations." "Thank you," Ujunwa said, beaming. "And I want you to be part of my Ashwebi train. You have to say yes." Adure didn't even think twice. "Of course, I will be there. I wouldn't miss it for anything in the world." A few days later, Ujunwa sent Adure the Ashwebi fabric for the wedding. When Adure received the material, she held it up and admired the soft shimmery cloth. It was a rich yellow lace that sparkled when the light hit it just right. "This is so beautiful," Adure whispered to herself, already imagining how stunning she would look. Then it hit her. "This is it," she thought. "This is the perfect occasion to wear my corset dress." Her heart skipped a beat as she realized her savings were finally complete. Without wasting any time, Adure called the tailor she had gotten the number for months ago. She set an appointment and went to the shop the very next day with her Ashwebi material. The tailor, a middle-aged woman with a sharp eye for detail, measured Adure from every angle, jotting down the numbers. "Don't worry," the tailor assured her. "You will look like a queen in this dress." Adure smiled so wide, her cheeks hot. She left the shop feeling like she was already the star of the wedding. A few days later, the tailor called to say the dress was ready for its first fitting. When Adure arrived at the shop and saw the dress, she was speechless. It was everything she had dreamt of and more. The corset hugged her waist tightly. The lace detailing shimmered with elegance. Adure put the dress on as she turned to look in the mirror. She couldn't stop staring. "It's perfect," she whispered, running her hands over the fabric. After a few minor adjustments, the dress was ready. Adore couldn't wait to wear it to the wedding. She spent the next few days shopping for matching accessories, gold earrings, a shiny clutch, and sky-high heels. She even booked an appointment at the salon for the morning of the wedding. Finally, the big day arrived. Adore woke up early, her excitement bubbling over like a pot of soup. She got her hair styled into soft coils and painted her lips with a bold red lipstick. By the time she slipped into her corset dress and added her accessories, she looked like she had stepped out of a fashion magazine. When she arrived at the wedding venue, heads turned. Everyone couldn't help but stare. People whispered among themselves, "Where is she? Her dress is stunning." Others approached her to shower her with compliments. "Adore, you are the queen of the Asoebi train," one of the other ladies said with a laugh. Adore basked in their attention. She had always loved being the center of admiration, and today she felt unstoppable. Before the wedding reception officially began, the caterer started arranging food and drinks in the corner of the hall. Adore's eyes darted to the trays of fried rice, jollof rice, grilled chicken, and steaming plates of pounded yam with vegetable soup. There were also platters of small chops, cupcakes, and bottles of soda. Her mouth watered instantly. She tried to focus on the wedding program, but her eyes kept drifting to the food. Finally, she couldn't resist any longer. "It's a wedding," she thought to herself. "The food is meant to be eaten." She grabbed the plate and went straight for the fried rice and chicken. The spices tickled her nose as she took her first bite, savoring the flavors. After finishing that, she moved on to the small shops, samosas, puff-puffs, spring rolls. She ate them all. Next came the pounded yam and soup, followed by a slice of cake. Other guests began to notice how much Adure was eating, especially considering the tight corset dress she was wearing. A concerned older woman approached her and said, "My dear, you should slow down. That dress you are wearing is very tight. Don't overeat." Adure waved her off with a laughter. "Ah, Mama, don't worry. This is a wedding and the food is delicious. Let me enjoy myself." After washing everything down with a cold soda, Adure leaned back in her seat, feeling full and satisfied. She smiled to herself, thinking, this day couldn't get any better. Soon, it was time for the bride and groom to make their grand entrance into the reception hall, accompanied by her Asoebi train. The music was loud and the crowd was cheering as the Asoebi ladies lined up, ready to dance with the couple. Adure was still finishing her drink when she saw her fellow Asoebi train members filing into the hall. Her eyes widened. "Oh no," she muttered, quickly putting down her glass and dashing over to join them. As the music played, Adure danced her heart out. She twirled, swayed her hips, and clapped to the rhythm. The crowd cheered louder, loving the energy she brought to the procession. But as she danced, she began to feel a strange discomfort in her stomach. At first, she ignored it, thinking it was just the tight corset pressing on her full belly. But then, she started feeling dizzy. The room spun for a moment, but Adure brushed it off, determined to keep dancing. Suddenly, the pain in her stomach intensified. She stopped mid-step, clutching her side. Before anyone could ask what was wrong, Adure doubled over and began vomiting. Gasps filled the hall as people rushed towards her. Moments later, she collapsed to the ground unconscious. The joyous atmosphere of the wedding turned to chaos. Guests were shouting and running around trying to help. The bride and the groom stood frozen, their smiles replaced with worry. "Somebody call an ambulance," someone yelled. Adure was rushed to the hospital, her corset dress still clinging tightly to her frame. When the doctor examined her, the diagnosis shocked everyone. The corset had been too tight, restricting the movement of food through her intestines. This, combined with the large quantity of food she had eaten, caused her to vomit and lose consciousness. Worse still, Her intestines had ruptured from the strain. She needs emergency surgery, the doctor said gravely. We have to act fast to save her life. When Adure's parents arrived at the hospital and heard the news, they were devastated. Obioma cried uncontrollably, blaming herself for the way Adure had grown up. If only we had listened to our neighbors when she was little, Obioma sobbed. If only we hadn't spoiled her so much. Chijioke held his wife tightly, his face pale with fear. We can't lose her, he whispered. The doctors worked tirelessly to save Adure's life. After hours of surgery, they managed to stabilize her condition. It took months for Adure to recover fully, but during that time, she had plenty of time to reflect on her choices. When she finally left the hospital, she was a changed person. The doctor had warned her to eat in moderation and to avoid tight clothing, especially corsets. Adure didn't need any further warnings. She had learned her lesson the hard way. From that day on, Adure adopted healthy eating habits and avoided overeating. She never dared to forget her ugly experience with the corset dress and the dangers of gluttony. This is where we come to the end of the story. If you enjoyed this story and watched to the end, please do not make it your last time on my channel. Subscribe, like, drop your thoughts on the comment section, and share my videos with your loved ones. See you all on my next one. Bye.